Welcome, and peace be with you. I'm Lydia Velasquez, and this is Paranormal Activity para for normal people. And today we're going to talk about the mark that God gave you before you came to this earth as a chosen one, so that people would know that you are chosen. We all have it, 144,000 of us. Look in the palm of your hand, and you'll see the M. Matter of fact, I'll make it easy for you. The mark that he gave us is so that we could distinguish who we are. We all have it. It might look different to everybody. But if you have it, you are chosen. The mark of the M. If you have the half moon and the mark of the M, you're really gifted. I have in both of my hands. Some of us have it in one hand. Some of us have a distinguished mark of an M, not so prevalent. But if you have it and you join the half moons, you can see they turn into wings because we're earth angels. We are what you call chosen for a specific reason. You either are an empath, a seeker, a psychic, a clairvoyant, a medium. You either have the gift of knowledge, your wisdom, you're smart beyond anything. You're creative, you got the gift of healing. I have all of them. You have the gift of sense. Your intuition is so strong, so prevalent. Not much can get by you. You might let it slide every once in a while. You definitely know when someone isn't right for you. Have you ever walked in a room and someone's talking and they're having a deep conversation, and when you walk in, the conversation stops? The energy is like thick, almost like you can cut it with a knife. That's because your energy is so strong that they can't not acknowledge you. Have you ever felt like something just isn't right? Something isn't quite like you feel like it's not quite there, like you can tell something just isn't right. That's your intuition. Have you ever felt like something is coming? You're anxious. You can't stop moving around. You feel like you're a cat in a cage. You understand that something is coming towards you. And that's your guides, your angels, your ancestors preparing you for what's coming. Dreams. Dreams are really prevalent. They're so real that they feel like you really were there. And you were. You asked to float. You asked to fly. You're there because your spirit takes off at night. And you come back to your body before it's time for you to wake up. And so your dreams are so intense, and they're so what you might call realistic, that there's no acknowledging that they're not real. And then to top it off, the icing on the cake, they come into reality. Whatever you dreamt comes out. And you're like, how in the world? Yeah. Have you ever felt like you've been somewhere, you've gone somewhere, and you've been there before? They call it deja vu. But it's because you've lived a past life and you've been that place way before this life. Have you ever met up with someone and they look familiar, although you know you haven't met them, but they have been in your life? They just haven't been in this life. Have you ever felt like you've done an activity or you've done a um, artistic project and it just comes to you quickly? It's like you've done it before. You don't even have to learn it because you've done it before. You felt like you've done it before. That's because in a past life you have done it before. I've lived so many past lives that every activity, every acknowledgement that I have, that I've learned over the years, and I'm 63. I know, I don't look it. That's another gift of the chosen ones. You look young. Thank you, God. You've learned it so well that you feel like you catch on to it, and it's like second nature. That's because in a past life, you've already lived that, you've already learned it, and you bring it on to the next life. As a spiritualist and a chosen one, you have many gifts. You're very intelligent, very creative, very intuitive. Nobody can pass one over you. Between your gifts and the knowledge and the wisdom that you carry, you're highly intellect. And it's very hard for you to deal with certain people because of the fact that you know they're either real or they're fake. You can tell when a person is pure at heart. You feel their spirit, their energy. Like you can tell when a person is dark. And even though you might, as the chosen one that you are, might give them a second chance or the benefit of the doubt, you never ever let your guard down. I can tell you because that's me. As a chosen one, your childhood was very hard. You weren't nobody's favorite. You were the black sheep of the family. You never felt like you were just in the right place at the right time. You felt like you weren't enough. Like no matter what you did or how you did it, it just didn't make anybody happy. You felt like you were different. Like you weren't wanted. Everybody called you weird. You're not right. Something's not right with you. When in reality, everything was right with you. They were the ones that were out of place. As a chosen one, being a child, you saw things. You heard things. You felt things that nobody else did. You knew things. And because you did feel, know, and act upon what you felt, you were looked at like you were weird. You were scary. My dog is eating. He's hungry. It's another thing. Animals. They acknowledge you more than the next person. They are attracted to you. Even animals that are scary. Bees, to me, are frightful. But there's not one summer that goes by that I don't get a massive amount of bees that attract to me. I'm going to tell you a story. I have a neighbor that has a cat. Her name is Bella. I have that video on my podcast. Please do go to it. It's kind of exciting. I had, at one point, had a mural up in my ceiling because I was doing a investigation of a missing person, and I was getting dreams and they were prevalent, and I decided I'm going to put some pictures up of this mural as I started it. I decided to paint a tree of a um, pink and white. Um, well, it was a tree that I had saw somewhere before, and I didn't know how exactly to do it. So I started making the branches, and as I started making the branches, I would lay down in my bed, and I would look up, and I would be able to see different forms. And I'm going to show you the mural as I was doing it to start, and then I'm going to show you some videos of how I started finding different things into this mural that had to do with the case itself. And we're still very much active on this case because we haven't solved it, even though we believe we know the storyline behind it. We know exactly what happened. We just unfortunately can't prove it. And in order to solve this case, we have to have an acknowledgement with the law enforcement, and we don't quite know how to get to them so that they can follow up on it. Even if nothing comes out of it, at least we know we tried. But at this point, it's so hard to prove who we are. And in order for us to bring it to the law enforcement, we really can't go to them and say, hey, we know this, and we know they're going to think we had some involvement in it. And that just isn't what we're here for. So we have to put it in the back burner for now to actually get more information, more sight, more visions, more acknowledgement. But anyway, as I was dreaming and feeling the spirit of this individual that we were looking for, she would come to me and she would say, look up into the ceiling and see what you see. And I started seeing different images. There was images of a, a, a person that was underwater. You could see the hair that was floating, and you could see the image of the person. And then there's a snake on the person's shoulder, which means to me as a spiritualist that there was evil attached to that incident. That there was something that was having to do with deception and betrayal. And then one morning, I get up and I was looking up and I saw the word God on the ceiling. And as I went to go try to write out the word, I got up and saw a butterfly. And I have a story in my book that's called Beautiful Butterfly. And it had to do with my aunt. And I said, well, maybe I need to make the butterfly that is in that story. When I started to draw out the butterfly started to form. And no matter what I painted it in, it turned out black. So I left it black. After that, I started to notice that there was a bird next to this butterfly. And I started drawing out the bird. And I actually started painting the bird. And as I painted the bird, no matter what color I put to the bird, it turned out blue and white. So I go to the backyard, and I was doing a project for my other podcast named Living Your Best Life with Lydia. And I was doing some projects in the yard. And as I'm looking up, hanging some clothes up before I went to go do the project itself, I see a bluebird that lands on the tree. I felt like the bird was trying to communicate with me, and it chirped. It kept chirping. And I said, oh, you're beautiful. Hi, baby. And the more I talked to this bird, the more it started talking to me. I didn't put any mind to it. And then next thing I know, here comes another bluebird. And he lands on the opposite side of the tree. And I said, aren't you pretty? And the more I said something to it, it would chirp back to me. eventually I just was like, how beautiful are they? They're like baby birds too. They weren't really big. They were like maybe a couple months old. So they had um, already grown the wings, and you could see the blue and the white, and it just never occurred to me that I had painted these birds on my mural. So I started to fix something on the ground. I believe it was an umbrella that I was trying to repair. And as I'm repairing the umbrella, my ex-husband was standing inside looking outside at me. And he wasn't saying a word. He was standing out there very quiet and looking at me fixing this umbrella, which isn't unusual. He never really did much for being a helper. And all of a sudden, my next door neighbor's cat, Bella, started coming up behind me. Now, I didn't realize the cat was creeping up behind me to say hello. And as the cat got closer to me, the two birds come flying down from the tree, chirping like crazy, and start attacking the cat's head, literally going off on this cat. I was like, oh my God, Bella. And the birds took off. My husband comes out and he says, what in the world? What did they do? What just happened? I said, they must have thought that Bella was going to attack me. And they came. He said, I don't believe that. That's crazy. He said, I can't believe those birds actually tried to save you from this cat. I said, but she wasn't doing anything. So I pick up the cat and I said, look, she's a friend too. And I start petting her. And one of the birds flew down and flew on this piece of wood that I had on the ground, because I was building a deck in the back and I had mad wood in the back. And as the bird was sitting there, it was chirping and the cat kept meowing like, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to hurt her. And I could see these two animals communicating. At one point, the cat turned around and walked away. My husband's standing there, and then the bird flew up into the tree. My husband said, what in the world? All of a sudden, it hit me. I was like, oh my God, those are the birds that I actually drew in the ceiling. I start running. My husband's running behind me. He said, what are you talking about? I said, the mural in my room. When he looks up, he goes, oh my God, it's the birds. I said, no kidding. I said, what in the world? So this mural means something. He said, absolutely. So then that means every piece that you've put into this mural, it has a piece to a puzzle. I said, okay. So now I got to figure out what it is. Next thing I know, next morning we wake up, he looks up and he says, oh, I didn't see that black butterfly. I said, yeah, I drew it the same time I drew the bird. He said, interesting. He said, I never noticed it, and I looked at this mural yesterday. He said, I bet you I could find a whole bunch of stuff that you put in this mural. I said, you probably could. Because once you join another individual, that's why it's very important for you to realize who you lay down with. Because their energy now is a part of your energy, and spirits connect. So not only are they connecting your energy and suffering off of your energy, they are connecting your spirits together. And if that person is cheating with another person, you're not only sleeping with another person, your spirit is attached to another person. So if that person is dark, they're coming back and bringing you a dark entity, and you can be drained, so to speak, with your energy. That's another video, another time. But that is part of being a chosen. That afternoon, I go outside. My husband had left. He comes back. He's sitting on the porch. And I'm watering outside my plants. And all of a sudden, a black butterfly flies out of the plants and starts flying around me. He was like, holy smokes, the butterfly. I said, oh my God. What is this? Next thing I hear in spirit, I hear a man's voice and he says, he'll be gone soon. The butterfly gets up and takes off to the backyard. I stood there for a second and I said, somebody's going to die and it's going to be a man. And he said, here you go. Here you go again. I said, I'm just telling you what I know. I go to the backyard, the butterfly again flying around. And I hear again, don't be unprepared. Prepare yourself. He'll be gone soon. This was, I want to say 2 days before October 1st. October 1st, my father passed away. When I tell you sometimes it's very hard to be a chosen one, you have to be able to acknowledge your gift and embrace it and learn it and know who you are. Be able to deal with it. Because if you don't, it will drive you crazy. It will make you feel like you are cursed when in reality all you are is blessed. It's not hard to be a chosen one. It's hard to acknowledge the gifts you have because they're so impounded, they're so strong, they're so powerful. I still don't know all my potential, who I am as a chosen. What I'm here to do, I know I have a basic idea of what I'm here to do. I know one thing is teaching like I'm doing right now. And I know for a fact that I'm supposed to speak my truth through my teaching. And then another one is healing because I'm a shaman. But there are things that you all have that you are marked and that you all agreed on when you came here to do your mission. All you have to do is wake up to it. All you have to do is acknowledge and remember. Once you do remember, my friends, the rest is a breeze. Don't worry about what people think about you. Don't worry about what they talk about. Don't worry about what they think of your gifts or what you carry. Be proud. Be humble and be grateful. Be wise and know that there's so much more to you than meets the eye. Also know that there's no one like you. You are specific. You are marked to come here and do a specific job. Your mission is specific. And whether you want to or not, you agreed to it. You agreed to being a chosen one. You agreed to carrying this gift or gifts. And you also agreed to being part of the 144,000. Acknowledge who you are. In your strength, accept who you are. In the love that you have for your God, for the divine, for spirit, whatever you call him, for Yahweh, for the universe, for your guides, for your angels, and for your ancestors. Acknowledge who you are because you're here for a specific reason. Start knowing who you are. Start learning who you are. Research it. Look for it. Embrace it. Feel it. Because once you do, you will be awakened. You'll remember. And when you do, you'll be ready. And who knows? You might meet up with me and my army of angels. Your soul tribe is out there. Be happy that you are part of the 144,000. We're a unique bunch. We're amazing beyond amazing. There's so much that we have yet to do. We're being prepared. We're being put together to come together as one tribe. Because what we have to do here, nobody else can do. So until you realize who you are, what you're about, what your mission is, until you learn who you are, what you're about, and what your mission is, embrace what you already know. Search for the answers that you need to seek for. And when you do, remember, when you do awaken, embrace it. Be grateful and be happy that you are who you are, because there's no other person like you. I'm grateful for who I am. I love who I am, and I love my gifts because I know I have a specific mission. I love the faces of the people that I helped. I'm the only one that could help. I love teaching people who need to know. There's also a manifestation gift. Learn every technique you can. There's not only healing, praying, manifesting, meditating. There's other parts of being who you are. Learn them. Want them. Embrace them. But most of all, love who you are, because there's nobody else like you. Until then, my friends, may the universe give you what you desire, and the divine bless every move you make. See you soon.